Yo, welcome back to part 3 of a Deepwoken spec series. A series similar to Agamatsu's Deepwoken Unsolved, but instead, it's all about dev specs, like the things we know about them, and the origins of each spec. And I'll be rating them on 3 categories: PvP, PvE, and overall use. There won't be much about custom races with some exceptions, like today's episode, but mainly custom abilities. Anyway, let's get to the video. Sudomesh has a custom race called the Aberrant Capra, or the Depthsborn. As far as abilities go, it doesn't have any yet. It's mostly a lore character with lots and lots and lots of lore. The reason I say he's a lore character is because in-game, he's basically a regular Capra, but because of the depths mutations, he has no mark, because him being aberrant messes with the way race vows work. So because he's mostly lore, I'm gonna do ratings on how effective he is with his lore abilities, like somewhat how I did with Hask Vantage. For his origin story, there's such a freakish amount of detail that went into his lore, so I sadly have to summarize it, but pause right now to read his full lore. Phaidros was born genetically altered by the depths, a condition that strengthens the soul, mind, and song, but unfortunately causes the body to be dangerously frail. To overcome his inability to challenge others through physical prowess, he relies solely on tact and manipulation to create vows with those who compensate what he lacks. His vows are weird. Unlike the usual vow magic where you can remove them at Yunshol, his can't be removed safely. There's usually some sort of awful consequence. Additionally, anyone vowed to him is essentially turned into an extra life for Phaidros. Anytime Phaidros is in a scenario where he's supposed to die, anyone vowed to him in the same layer as him dies in his stead. So you can be enjoying a coffee miles away, but if Phaidros gets crushed by a boulder, you'll experience spontaneous bone crushing, because Phaidros is eating your existence so that he can remain alive and unharmed. Technically, his version of the sacrifice command. But it can only ever be used if it's in a situation where he would have died. Other than his vows, as I said earlier, him being aberrant gives him a strong connection with the song. His frost draw is much more stronger, but way more violent and unpredictable, and runs the risk of hurting himself in the process of using it. It's like if you were to press one key on a piano, but in doing so caused a cascade of discordant voices completely out of your control. More of a nasty part, he has a bell which lets him hide in the skin of someone he has vowed. Very simple and also extremely literal. For PvP, he's more tame than the others I've mentioned. Unless he has a vow with you or someone in the same layer as you, it's not going to be hard to kill him. The main thing about him PvP wise is his ice is a bit stronger than regular ice, but he stated that if his character were to train, it could improve drastically compared to regular ice. As far as PvP goes, Sudomesh has stated that he's mainly a distance mage type of fighter, and that if he even got somewhat close to his opponent, his ice would hurt him horribly. Also, he's apparently an excellent track star. For PvE, like I said in the PvP section, he's amazing at running away with his ice, so if he gets in a sticky situation while PvEing, he could easily escape. And if anybody that's vowed with him is with him, if he dies, it doesn't matter because he just comes back. Of course, until he runs out of vowed people. Another downside is his character is horrified of the depths, and the PvPing would 100% have to be in layer 1 only. No depths, no layer 2. Overall, his custom race has some of the most interesting lore, and is possibly my favorite so far. But for overall ability, he's not going to be doing much out of PvP, because he's horrified of the depths. But for PvP, he's quite efficient with his powerful ice magic and his abuse of the vows. He can be very deadly for PvP, but PvE he seriously lacks. I'm gonna give him a rating of 8.2 just because he's nowhere as overpowered as Hask, but he's far better than the Phoenix for overall use. The main reason I give him a high rating is because if he did train his ice, it would be absolutely catastrophic, and he could even be like an Etheron level threat if he decided to use his ice powers to destroy. Anyway guys, I'm gonna do an episode with everyone who has a custom ability, so comment down below who y'all want to see next, like and sub, and I'll see y'all next time.